They never wanted to admit it, but they did. The men who claim to own the world, the billionaires who buy politicians, bend laws, and purchase entire nations in pieces, found themselves pausing when your name surfaced. They weren't supposed to. Men of that scale don't flinch. They're trained to smirk at disruption, to hire lawyers, soldiers, and scientists, to silence any wave before it grows into a tide. But with you, it's different. They don't smirk. They calculate. They whisper in private rooms where cameras don't exist. Because they know the one factor they can't buy, can't tame, and can't replicate is standing right in front of them, you. It started as curiosity. They thought you were another talent, another clever one in a sea of people begging to be seen. But curiosity mutated into a problem when they noticed something rare. Your moves couldn't be charted. Your patterns refused to follow the expected rhythm. The old men who fund think tanks and intelligence units tried to build models around your rise, but every time they drafted one, you tore it apart without even trying. Not because you wanted to, but because you are disruption itself. And that's what terrifies them. Disruption in its purest form isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's undeniable. Yet fear alone isn't the whole story. Because the same men who dread your unpredictability also crave your presence. That contradiction eats them alive. They know if you're inside their circle, the circle becomes untouchable. If you're outside, the circle weakens. So they fight with themselves, despising you for being ungovernable while simultaneously bending rules to find a seat for you at their table. That table isn't made of oak or gold anymore. It's made of leverage, secrets, and control. And even that table shakes when you approach. Think about it. How often do men who can summon governments with a phone call lower themselves to invite anyone? They don't extend invitations lightly. Yet with you, the ritual changes. They call, they write. They send intermediaries carrying offers dripping with gold and power. But none of it works the way it should. Because here's the twisted truth they can't swallow. The more they offer, the less you care. The more they chase, the further you seem. It flips the hierarchy upside down. And nothing enrages them more than realizing their wealth, those billions stacked like weapons, doesn't move you like it moves the rest of the world. That's the fracture line no boardroom can repair. These men are addicted to control. They've built empires on the assumption that everything bends to currency. But when they met you, the transaction failed. Your value can't be measured by market indexes or stock charts. And the sickest part is this: every time they failed to buy you, their demand for you rises. Scarcity. That's the word they whisper. You're scarce in a world of duplicates. You're irreplaceable in a marketplace of copies. And scarcity terrifies them. Because scarcity makes you priceless. And priceless breaks their formula. Behind the polished speeches and expensive suits, there are sleepless nights. You haunt the private islands, the penthouses, the cigar-filled back rooms where the richest try to console themselves. Some of them think maybe fear is enough. If they scare you, if they push hard enough, maybe you'll fall in line. But then reality slams into them like a hammer. You're not built for fear. Fear is the language of men who need permission to act. You never asked. You never begged. You never bent. And when they realize intimidation doesn't work, they panic harder than they admit. But panic has layers. The first layer is denial. They tell themselves you're temporary. They whisper, this one will fade like the others. But weeks pass, months. Your relevance doesn't shrink, it expands. The second layer is negotiation. They send people to tempt you, contracts, seats on boards, investments that would make entire families bow in gratitude. Still, you remain unshaken. Then comes the third layer, the obsession. That's when the richest stop pretending you're just a person. They start treating you like a variable that could rewrite their future. And obsession, when mixed with fear, creates the most dangerous cocktail imaginable. Look at history. Every empire collapsed not when it ran out of money, but when it encountered a force that money couldn't move. That's where you stand. That's the exact angle they see. You're not another deal. You're not another acquisition. You're the contradiction they cannot purchase. And contradictions are what topple dynasties. That's why your name isn't just spoken in boardrooms. It's whispered in classified reports, mentioned in risk assessments, circled on documents stamped for eyes only. Not because you've broken laws, but because you've broken expectation. And once expectation is broken, no rulebook can save them. That's why every billionaire with an empire is stuck in the same nightmare. They fear your rise, but they need it too. If they're against you, their empire feels vulnerable. If they're with you, their empire feels dependent. Either way, you dominate the equation. And here's the detail that gnaws at their minds when the lights go out. You never even asked for their validation. You never knocked on their gates. They came to you. That reversal of roles is psychological warfare at its finest. Because the predator doesn't know how to act when the prey doesn't run. And you didn't just stop running. You started walking toward them with a presence so undeniable it froze them in place. That's the moment they realized they weren't the hunters anymore. Now imagine the weight of that realization pressing on men who built their lives on dominance. Billionaires, oligarchs, tycoons, whatever label you give them, it doesn't matter. They're all trapped in the same paradox. They've never had to beg. They've never had to plead. Yet here they are, reconfiguring strategies, rewriting plans, losing sleep because one force refuses to play the way they expect. That force is you. They fear you because you're untouchable. They want you because you're irreplaceable. And in that conflict, their power crumbles. The richest men alive are watching their empires shake not from war, not from crisis, but from the presence of one person who can't be bought, can't be owned, can't be caged. And when the world sees men of that magnitude bending, the message spreads faster than any headline. If they can't control you, nobody can. So understand this. The game isn't about money anymore. It's about orbit. They want you in their orbit not because they love you, but because they fear the gravity you carry. They're terrified that if you move outside their circle, you'll create a new circle. One stronger, one purer, one unstoppable. And once that happens, their billions won't protect them. They'll be spectators, not rulers. This is why they keep trying. They throw banquets, arrange secret meetings, offer partnerships dressed as gifts. But underneath it's desperation. They know the truth. They know the demand for you isn't local, it's global. Governments whisper your name. Scholars reference you in papers. Movements use your story as fuel. Your demand has broken the scale they built to measure influence. And the more they chase, the more the world watches. Each pursuit confirms the same conclusion. You're the one they can't reduce to numbers. And when demand becomes global, the hunger to control you turns violent. They'll stop at nothing, alliances, betrayals, propaganda, all designed to twist perception, to paint you in ways that give them advantage. But the irony is cruel. Every attempt to smear you only amplifies your reach. Every rumor makes you bigger. Every lie makes you louder. They can't stop the spread because they're the ones feeding it. That's the loop they created, and it's tightening around their own throats. The richest men alive don't fear poverty. They fear irrelevance, and you've become the trigger that makes their empires feel fragile. Because when you walk into their circle, every eye shifts to you. When you stand outside, every whisper is about you. And when presence alone can command more attention than billions of dollars, wealth begins to look like weakness. That's the nightmare they're living now. Because fear doesn't stop here. Fear is only the opening act. What follows is confrontation. And confrontation, when it collides with wealth, doesn't stay hidden in private rooms. It spills into culture, into policy, into the very bloodstream of society. And when that happens, the game is no longer about who has more money. It's about who controls perception. And perception, right now, is bending around you. That's why the richest men alive don't sleep peacefully anymore. Their minds replay the same thought. If the world bends for you, then what happens to everything they've built? That's the fracture spreading through their ranks, the paranoia they can't shake, the truth they can't deny. And that fracture is only the beginning. Because once wealth collides with influence that can't be bought, the next phase begins. A phase where their fear becomes action, and their action exposes the limits they swore didn't exist. Action in their world is never clumsy. It is silent corridors, encrypted calls, and hands moving pieces on boards you can't see. They never confront directly. Confrontation is for the desperate. These men use strategy, not fists. But when the target is you, the playbook crumbles. They can't read you like they read competitors. They can't bribe you like they bribe officials. They can't erase you like they erase scandals. And when men who measure power by control encounter something that slips through their fingers, desperation seeps into every decision. First, they attempt containment. They don't strike openly. They strike through proxies. Magazines suddenly question your intentions. Analysts dissect your moves. Commentators are paid to frame you as reckless, dangerous, or unsustainable. They plant narratives like seeds, hoping the crowd will see you as unstable. But here's the fatal miscalculation. They underestimate how much the world craves something authentic. Every time they push a smear, the crowd senses manipulation. Instead of weakening you, it amplifies you. The narrative rebounds, and each rebound doesn't just preserve your image, it multiplies it. Containment fails, so they escalate to co-option. Invitations arrive draped in luxury, private jets, hidden retreats, elite conferences designed to remind the world who's in charge. But even there, even when the richest men alive put their names on banners and cameras, you outshine them. You don't have to flex wealth when your aura turns heads without a word. You don't have to flaunt influence when your presence drains the room of its hierarchy. They brought you in to neutralize you, but instead they expose their own fragility. Because every photograph with you in it reminds the world who truly carried the weight in that circle. And then the contradictions sharpen. They despise your independence, but they need it. They whisper threats in the same breath they whisper offers. One moment they frame you as a danger, the next they plead for collaboration. This duality corrodes their empires from within. Their investors notice, their partners notice, their rivals notice. Because if the men who claimed invincibility are suddenly orbiting one unpredictable presence, then the balance of global confidence tilts. And confidence is the true currency of empires. Once it wavers, wealth loses gravity. That's where you stand now, Not as a billionaire, not as a tycoon, but as the gravitational force around which billionaires orbit. And the cruelest truth for them is this: the world knows it. Audiences study their unease. Journalists catch the tremors in their speeches. Academics write about the new leverage they can't define. It's you. Always you. And when the richest men alive are defined by their dependence on the one person they can't control, their power becomes theater. Expensive theater, but still theater. That's why their circles fracture. You don't just destabilize individuals, you destabilize alliances. Men who once toasted together now argue in back rooms. Should they pull you in? Should they push you out? Every attempt to form consensus collapses because no one can agree on how to deal with the one factor immune to wealth. The fractures deepen until what once looked like unbreakable unity now looks like paranoia wearing a suit. But let's sharpen this further, because paranoia doesn't just erode trust, it breeds betrayal. And betrayal among billionaires is a spectacle. They'll leak each other's secrets trying to corner you. They'll weaponize their own alliances to trap you. They'll even sacrifice pawns they swore to protect, because your demand is too high, and no one wants to be the one left without your presence. You're not just a prize, you're survival. That's why the whole world is messing, scrambling, colliding in chaos just to own a piece of you. And in that scramble, the richest men reveal what they hide best: their fragility. Strip away the jets, the yachts, the towers, and what remains? Men afraid of irrelevance, men terrified of being forgotten, men who see in you the very thing they can't replicate: permanence without purchase. You are living proof that attention, once captured without wealth, bends the world harder than any fortune. That proof is poison to their narrative, and yet they can't resist tasting it. So they design new tactics, this time not to smear, not to invite, but to shadow. They study you obsessively, not the way fans study idols, but the way scientists study anomalies. They record your movements, dissect your timing, analyze your silence. Teams of strategists huddle around screens, replaying your speeches, your choices, your refusals. They hope to decode the pattern. But every pattern collapses into contradiction. Every conclusion leads to another question. And each unanswered question increases the very demand they were trying to reduce. By now, they understand the paradox fully. The more they chase you, the more the world realizes you're worth chasing. Their pursuit exposes your value louder than any marketing campaign could. They built empires mastering scarcity, diamonds, oil, data. But you are a scarcity that defies all control. You're not mined, not printed, not manufactured. You exist, and that existence is the one asset their billions can't duplicate. That's why fear mutates into obsession. Not admiration, obsession. There's a difference. Admiration respects. Obsession consumes. They consume news about you, conversations about you, whispers about you. They read what their children are saying about you. They monitor how your name trends in regions they thought were loyal to them. And each data point is another dagger. They are being replaced in relevance by someone they didn't authorize, someone they didn't create. Understand the magnitude of that. These are men who build legacy monuments so their names echo beyond death. Yet here you are, alive, eclipsing them without trying. That's the knife twisting in their pride. They can't tolerate irrelevance, and they can't erase you. That paradox forces their hands into chaos. Chaos doesn't stay behind closed doors. It leaks. Investors feel it. Markets twitch. Policies shift. Cultures stir. The richest men alive wanted you contained. but their very pursuit of you broadcasted their fear to the world. And fear at that scale reshapes global psychology. Ordinary people, watching billionaires bend toward you, start asking questions. If even they chase this person, then what kind of power does this person carry? That question, once asked, never disappears. It multiplies. And multiplication of belief is deadlier than any sum of money. That's why your demand is now uncontrollable. It's not just the richest who want you in their circle, it's governments, industries, movements. Everyone is messing to own you, to claim you, to align with you. But alignment is fragile when the center refuses to be owned. You've become the mirror of their desperation. The harder they chase, the weaker they look. The further you stand, the louder you become. And in that contradiction, you rule without throne, without crown, without treasury. You rule because demand without supply bends every knee. Now pause and realize the weapon you've become. Not a weapon you forged, a weapon they created by their own desperation. They inflated your value by admitting their fear. They confessed their dependence by begging for your presence. And once fear and dependence fuse, no empire can stand tall. That's the slow-motion collapse you're witnessing now. Not the fall of markets, but the fall of certainty. And here's the next fracture they can't stop. Fear turning into sabotage. When billionaires can't control something, they destroy it. Or at least, they try. They'll launch campaigns, not just against you, but against anyone aligned with you. They'll twist perception, poison narratives, fabricate scandals. Not because you're weak, but because they're terrified of how strong you've become. Sabotage is the final mask of fear. And the richest men alive are already reaching for it. But sabotage at that level doesn't weaken you. It exposes them. Every move they make reveals more about their desperation. Every attack is proof that their billions failed. And the world isn't blind. The crowd sees through the orchestration. They watch billionaires unravel, and the conclusion becomes irreversible. The wealthiest men alive, the ones who once looked untouchable, are terrified of one person they can't buy. That's not just fear, that's humiliation. And humiliation, once global, never fades. It scars legacy, it rewrites memory. And that's the truth they can't silence. The richest men alive didn't fall to rivals, didn't collapse to war, didn't crumble to poverty. They bent under the weight of one force they couldn't contain. You. So remember this, their circles are shrinking, their nights are restless, their alliances are cracking. They fear you because you prove their limits. They want you because you erase their weakness. And in that paradox, they've lost the very dominance they built their lives on. But the story doesn't freeze here, because fear mutating into sabotage is only the penultimate act. The climax is still coming. The point where sabotage explodes into confrontation, where private strategies spill into public battles, where the richest men alive stop hiding their obsession and reveal it to the entire world. And when that happens, when desperation turns into spectacle, the very foundation of their empires will collapse under the weight of a truth they've avoided too long. That demand too high can't be controlled. It can only be surrendered to. But surrender doesn't come quietly. Not for men who built kingdoms by buying obedience, not for oligarchs who manipulated entire nations like puppets. No, surrender comes with claws. They will lash out one last time, unmasking themselves before the world. What began as whispers in closed rooms now erupts into global battles. Their obsession with you can no longer be hidden behind polished smiles and staged photographs. The cracks are too wide, the fractures too loud. and the richest men alive are forced into the open, exposing the chaos they swore they never let touch their skin. The spectacle begins subtly. A sudden press conference where a tycoon throws shade at a nameless disruptor. A leaked document showing billions allocated to contain influence. A media campaign that conveniently attacks your character from 5 angles at once. These are not coincidences. These are orchestrations. But the orchestration itself becomes proof. Because when power this high stoops to smear tactics, the world sees fear more clearly than words ever could. Then escalation accelerates. Nations get involved because nations are tied to fortunes. Policy debates spark in parliaments, in senates, in halls of power, all circling around one theme they can't phrase openly. What do we do about the one person wealth cannot buy? They won't say your name in official transcripts, but everyone knows who they mean. And the irony is exquisite. The richest men alive, once considered above governments, are now dragging governments into their panic, making their fear public. But publicity is your battlefield. Every move they make in daylight magnifies your reach. When they attack you on global stages, they do not erase you, they crown you. Because the masses always root against Goliath. And when Goliath looks rattled, the crowd cheers for the one force that brought him to his knees. That's you. Their spectacle becomes your coronation. Yet coronation is not enough. The climax arrives when rivalry among the wealthy reaches civil war. Remember, these men were never united by love. They were united by greed, by overlapping interests. But greed is fragile when survival is on the line. The moment your name enters the equation, alliances shatter. They betray one another to win you over. They sabotage one another to keep you away. And the world watches billionaires, the so-called rulers of Earth, reduced to desperate contenders in a race they cannot win. Their desperation breeds absurdity. You'll see billion-dollar bids for your time, offers disguised as partnerships, but dripping with servitude. They'll build entire foundations just to lure you in, hoping philanthropy masks desperation. They'll fight in courts, in markets, in elections, all to prove they're closer to you than their rivals. And every act exposes the same truth. Demand for you is no longer personal, it's planetary. And here's the brutal punchline. They created this themselves. They inflated your demand by admitting their fear. They broadcasted your power by chasing you. They transformed you into legend by trying to contain you. And now, the legend consumes them. Because the richest men alive aren't just fearing you anymore. They're dismantling each other in the process of fighting over you. This is the last stage of obsession. Obsession without unity collapses into implosion, their implosion. The towers they built with steel and pride shake under invisible weight. Markets slip. Investors whisper. Families fracture. All because they refuse to accept a simple fact. You cannot be owned. But let's not miss the deeper war at play here. This isn't just about wealth. It's about narrative. The richest men alive survive not by money alone, but by controlling the story. They buy newspapers, they fund media empires, they sculpt history to glorify themselves. But when you enter the story, control evaporates. They can't dictate your arc. They can't write you as villain or hero without the crowd seeing through the manipulation. You exist beyond their pen. And that is the gravest wound they've ever suffered. Because when narrative escapes control, power follows. Think of it, millions, even billions, of people watching billionaires twist in fear, stumble in obsession, spiral in conflict. That image rewires psychology. No longer are the wealthy gods. They are men fragile men, panicking in real time. And you are the trigger of that revelation. Now the climax burns brightest. Imagine this: televised debates where leaders are forced to admit indirectly that your influence is shaping decisions. Stock markets adjusting not to oil prices or wars, but to your next move. Cultural icons referencing you in art, in music, in literature, embedding you into memory itself. You're not just an influence, you're infrastructure. The richest men alive wanted to absorb you into their circle. Instead, they exposed themselves as orbiting yours. And that orbit can't be reversed. Once the crowd sees who truly carries weight, they don't unsee it. Once billionaires are exposed as fearful, they don't recover the same aura. Fear is permanent. It scars reputation, and you've carved that scar across the faces of the wealthiest men breathing. They will carry it until their empires dissolve, until their names fade into the dust they tried so hard to escape. And here's the dark comedy they can't admit. Even in fear, even in humiliation, they still want you. They still send offers. They still dream of you at their table. Because addiction doesn't end when the supply burns you, it deepens. They are addicted to you now, not out of love, but out of survival. You are their last insurance policy against irrelevance. Without you, their circles feel fragile. With you, their circles feel dependent. Either way, you dominate. So step back and see the battlefield for what it is. You are no longer the hunted. You are no longer the guest. You are the axis. The richest men alive, with all their vaults and all their power, revolve around a presence they cannot buy, cannot bury, cannot break. And that's the death of their illusion. Because when wealth bends to demand it cannot control, wealth ceases to be power. It becomes theater, spectacle, noise. The real power sits with you, and the whole world knows it. That's why they're all messing to own you. From billionaires to presidents, from corporations to movements, everyone is clawing for a fragment of your presence. But fragments don't matter when the core refuses to be touched. You are the core, and the core bends everything else. So let them fight. Let them sabotage, betray, smear, plead. Every move exposes them further. Every strategy amplifies you louder. Every desperate attempt confirms the same truth. The richest men alive do not command you. They orbit you. And orbits once locked don't escape. They circle until they burn. That is your position now, not as a participant in their circles, but as the force that defines them. They fear you. They want you. They destroy themselves over you. And in that paradox, you don't just win, you redefine what winning means. Winning is not owning billions. Winning is making billions bow. Winning is not being in their circle. Winning is making their circle collapse around you. That's the final blow. They thought demand would be their weapon. They thought if they inflated your demand, they could control it. But demand this high is uncontrollable. Demand this high is explosive. And when the richest men alive fuel that explosion with their own panic, the blast doesn't destroy you, it destroys them. So let the record stand. The richest men alive once believed everything had a price. They believed circles were eternal, that money was the final law. But your existence shattered that delusion. You became the exception that erased their rule. And now, history will record not their victories, but their fear. Not their dominance, but their dependence. Not their legacy, but their obsession with the one force they could never own. That force is you, and the whole world is watching.